Welcome to Mainstream with Harpreet Singh Toor. आप सबनों प्यार भरी सत श्री अकाल, नमस्कार, आदाब and shalom. We are reaching August 15, the Independence Day, but you're looking at my email address hstoor@gmail.com on the screen. Please make sure that you communicate with me your opinions, your views, because today I'm going to talk about few things regarding the Independence Day and the celebrations, but also because a lot of people, they still don't know exactly what happened because nobody wants to talk about it, and we are losing the population which actually got displaced and they got moved. They had to leave their place of birth, their kids, their homes and everything, their ancestral properties, and move over to either from Pakistan side to Indian side or Indian side to Pakistan side. And Punjab and Bengal, they were divided into Pakistan and on East Pakistan, and then later on it became Bangladesh. But before we talk about that and other stuff, there are some issues which I want to discuss, and I always, like I say, I want to start with the importance of freedom of speech and freedom of expression. And if we really look at it throughout the world, it is under attack right now. It's under attack by certain interested groups who are actually more interested in holding the power, keeping the power, and staying in the power. When you talk about democracy, yeah, no system is perfect, no doubt about it. But democracy, at least it gives you the power to participate and the power to change the course of the things which will be coming. And sometimes you just don't change the course, you just go back in history. And that is something, which I'm talking about, re-electing President Trump. And I was actually at a get-together in Queensboro Hall last night, and they were celebrating Pakistan's Independence Day over there. I met somebody who works at the Queensboro President. I know this person, this lady, for years, such a wonderful lady. And she mentioned that in 2017, February 2017, just remember, 20th of January 2017 is the day when Trump took the oath. February 2017, there was a special lecture at Helen Marshall Hall in Queensboro Hall's office, President's office. And this lady at that time talked about that the President Trump can come back. I never thought of that, but yes, I always say here, and this is where I predicted that Donald Trump will get elected president even before the election took place, more than 2 weeks before the election, or probably 2 weeks before the election. My show was on 26th or 27th of October. Election was on November 8th. So on this show, myself and my guest, both of us declared that the next president is going to be Trump, not Hillary Clinton. So having said that, what I'm looking at right now is the wholesale killing of freedoms, which we always enjoyed. We took it for granted, and we were like, oh, we are good now. But all of a sudden, we find that no, we're not good anymore. Because those freedoms can be taken away by someone who wants to take it away whenever he or she wants to take it away, when this person is in power. And I'm talking about not just the US, but I'm also talking about back home in India also. I'm not saying that Congress was perfect, but at the same time what I am saying is what is happening in India right here, what is happening in the United States also, the minorities being marginalized, they are being pushed to the side, not listening to them, indirectly making the ground or preparing the ground where the minorities are attacked and no action will be taken by the protectors who are supposed to protect you, and I am talking about the police here. Okay? And it is happening in the United States also right now. During the first term of President Donald Trump, we have Floyd case when we had defund the police at that time a movement. Defunding the police is not the answer. The answer is to have proper training and proper responsibilities and how to make them understand what their responsibilities are. You know, this is something, yeah, I'm going to put in my faith a little bit in here. In Sikhism, we are when we carry that small sword, a lot of people they know about it, especially who are aware of the Sikhism, which still is a mystery to a lot of people. Like 2 or 3 days ago, a 70-year-old gentleman got beaten up with a club, golf club, and he is in critical condition already, underwent a couple of seasons, just mistaken identity. Not just mistaken identity, but when you get encouraged to do whatever you want to do, this is what happens. Unless you are being told, okay, you can do whatever you want to do, but this is something you cannot do. Okay? So, what is happening is one step at a time, your rights are being chipped away. Latest, Washington, D.C., President Trump ordered the takeover of the police over there. He sent in, National Guards, and he's planning to, he's sending FBI. Yeah, there are people who don't feel secure. There are always places, doesn't matter where you go in the world, in each country, there are places where you will not feel secured, that you are going out and you will feel unsafe. But staying on Washington, D.C., during the pandemic, there was a surge of homeless people on the streets. Why? Because people didn't want to go into the shelters, because COVID was a disease which was communicable just by being in the breathing distance of the other person. So a lot of people, they left the shelters, they went to live on the street because they don't want to lose their life. The crime also went up at that time because there are more people sleeping on the street. So it's a natural phenomenon when you have that kind of mix. But if you look at overall in the last year and a half, overall crime in Washington, D.C. is down from 25 to 35% in each category. So, is it 100% safe? No, it was not 100% safe. But at the same time, Washington, D.C. is an area which is divided between two states, Maryland and Virginia. And then you have a city of Washington, D.C. And when a crime takes place, nobody really knows whose job it is to take care of that crime, whether it is the Washington, D.C. police. If it is the Maryland area, then they say it is a Maryland area, it is a job of Maryland state. And if it is Virginia, then it is Virginia. And the local police is hampered by always this polls and everything, because this happens to be a capital of United States, and you have the congressmen, the senators, the president, the visiting dignitaries. And interestingly, when you pull out the FBI from what they are supposed to do and put them on the street for the crime and National Guards, two things would happen. As far as National Guards are concerned, then there is an increased probability of increase in the corruption. We can see that all the dictatorial countries where the dictatorships are there, they tried that, and during the rule of the army there was more corruption than otherwise. Let us take a break, then we will continue from there right after this break. Welcome back to Mainstream. So continuing over there, corruption can start. Now the FBI. What is the job of FBI, Federal Bureau of Investigation? We need to understand that. FBI actually is an organization which now it is more political, including Department of Justice, than the way it is supposed to be, and it was happening. Yeah, there is always some politics involved, but not to the extent which we see now. But going to the topic, FBI is actually also eyes and ears on the ground. Let's not forget, Washington DC is full of spies from other countries. They use every tool to find out who is talking, what is being talked about, what could be the ramifications, what are the benefits of that country, for which country that spy is working, and what downside of whatever the conversation is taking place. And FBI actually is supposed to be that branch of the government which keeps an eye on who is a spy. If the person is a spy, he or she has the rights. So without trampling over their rights, to keep an eye on them, and how to keep the secrets safe before they get into the federal, for the other government's hands. And don't take me wrong, every government spies on every other government. If you remember the Snowden, when he did release those papers, WikiLeaks, America was spying on European countries and vice versa. So what I am saying is, in diplomatic terms, does not matter how close your relations are with the country, but they don't trust each other. Why? Because when it comes down to the interests of a country, the person who is ruling the country is a person who actually is supposed to take care of the country. Forget about the current president, Donald Trump, because, and I can put the same thing on Prime Minister Modi, Munir from Pakistan right now, Chief Marshal, and there are some other areas, Belarus president, who actually is more interested in what is happening with Russia, and he wants to stay with Russia, keep very close ties. And in Africa, there are countries like that. So when that person actually is in charge of making sure all these agencies, they reach out to the person who is ruling that, okay, this is what is happening, this is what we are suggesting, tell us what you want and how you want us to do it. This is the job of FBI. But now if you are pulling out the FBI from there, and Kash Patel, who is director of FBI, he has already transferred out a lot of FBI agents. So already that eyes which were being kept on certain activities of the foreign countries' spies, they are already not on the ground, and now the President Trump has pulled out furthermore out of that. But there is another interesting aspect to it, which I think it's a probability, and that is that President Trump actually is further expanding his powers to take over the cities from the local elected governments. So, Washington DC, for him is a test lab baby. He has already named Chicago, New York, Los Angeles, Oakland, and there is another 2 or 3 more cities. And interestingly, they are all in Democratic states. Yesterday, Texas shooting happened. Couple of days before that, shooting happened in Texas. Nobody's talking about that, having those army-style weapons out there in the hands of the people, and those people going out and killing. And also, interestingly, when these people they kill, if they are white, they are just, they have mental issue. But if they are brown or black, or from any other faith, or they are terrorists immediately, then those parameters do not apply, or that this person is mentally sick, or this person has that kind of issue, or there was a family issue. No, then those parameters are thrown out immediately that person is a terrorist. So, what I am thinking is that he is testing the waters, because there is going to be a case, if the case goes to the court, how the courts react, and then Supreme Court. And interestingly, one of the attorney for Donald Trump, Mr. Bovee, he just got confirmed for a lifetime appointment as a judge, which is a stepping stone to move into circuit courts and then to the Supreme Court. And he actually was telling his staff before he got appointed judge to ignore the court orders. So, what is happening actually in the United States is that the wholesale dismantling of the rule of law, which we always talked about. When Donald Trump got convicted with all those felonies, there was something which I felt like that, okay, at least the law applies to everyone equally. But now those laws are being twisted and they are being applied selectively to the people who President Trump do not want or do not like, and he orders his troops, whether it is DOJ's Attorney General Bondi, FBI's Patel, whether you have IRS Commissioner, if he is not listening to you, whether it's a Department of Labor, if he sends out the statistic which you don't like, whether it is Federal Bank's Chairman Jerome Powell, if he's not lowering the interest rate because Trump wants him to lower the interest rate while the inflation is going up, and there are none who is telling him the effects of the tariffs on general public. You and I, we are paying more for the same items. Why? Because those items are actually manufactured overseas and they are shipped over here. United States always was involved in manufacturing high-tech, highly innovative, whether those are drugs or electronics or anything. Excuse me. And now we have China catching up to all those innovations, and United States will sell those high-tech things. US will invent the drug, and then they will send it to other countries to manufacture those drugs with the formula which they have already patented, and the American companies will make the money, American people will make the money, the shareholders of those companies, they will make the money. That's how the system was. But that whole system is being broken. And like I mentioned previously, that there is a company which manufactures air conditioners in Indiana. In his last term, he gave them $700 million to save 70 jobs, not to shift over to Mexico. And guess what? That company took the $700 million, and after that, they shifted the job anyway. So, labor is expensive in this country, no doubt about it. And the dollar is expensive as compared to other economies, currencies also. So, those are the factors which are not being taken into consideration into all this thing. And you and I are paying the price for that, and you and I will pay more price for further things which he will be doing. Let us take a break. After the break, I will be right back. Welcome back to Mainstream with Harpreet. I'm going to talk about, like I said at the beginning of the show, Hiroshima and Nagasaki, the atomic bomb, the first atomic bomb which was used against any country, by any country. That's another interesting fact, that the atomic bomb was used only once in human history, and that was used by the United States. And it was used against Japan. Hiroshima was the city, and it was on August 6th when this was done, August 6th of, just a moment. Yeah, August 6, 1945, and August 9, 2. Okay, 2 atomic bombs were detonated, and one in Hiroshima, the other one in Nagasaki. Okay, Nagasaki was August 9. Now, I have here, I came across this, the oral history. I don't remember whether it was in New York Times or Wall Street Journal. And this is the oral history of the crew which actually flew the plane and dropped the bomb, you know. And they just started normal, that okay, they were given a job to do, and the job was, this is interesting, that even though you are part of the crew of the plane, but you still don't know exactly what is the mission and where and when, okay, except the main captain of the that plane, okay. And it was a B-29. Captain was Captain Theodore, quote within quotes Dutch, that's how he was known, Van Kirk, and navigator Sergeant Joseph Stiborek. So, this is their conversation. Some of the conversation I'm going to share with you after they dropped the bomb. The bomb was dropped, and Alvarez, one of the staff member, the bomb was dropped from 30,000 feet to its detonation point over 3 parachutes. And then they made, you know, a U-turn, and within 43 seconds approximately, it reached the ground. Okay, the bomb at that time cost U.S. government about $2 billion at that time. Manhattan Project was the name of the project. The people don't know. Oppenheimer was the picture which came out, I think, last year. Those who haven't seen that picture, I will recommend that they should go and watch that movie. That talks about the whole development of atomic bomb. Okay, and Alvarez, one of the crew, he said, suddenly a bright flash lit the compartment. So that was after the bomb hit the ground, after the explosion, that from that light. And he says that sky was bleached a bright white, brighter than the sun. You know, when you see these people who were developing those atomic bombs at that time, they used to put on dark glasses. That was the reason. Because of that, like we are told, don't look into the sun. And if you want, you use the dark glasses to look into the sun. Okay? And then he says that they were actually about traveling away from their where they dropped the bomb, but they were watching the shock wave from the bomb traveling at 1100 feet a second, which is actually faster than the speed of the sound. So, and it was taking out the moisture from the air. And you know, we in when we are in India, over here also you see this hot air rising from the streets, and in India you see from the ground also, because the heat level. That's what he was talking about. That's how the air appeared to him. And then he goes on further. He said a giant purple mushroom had already risen to the height of 45,000 feet, which is about 3 miles above from the ground, even from their altitude, and I'm pretty sure they were flying at 25,000-30,000 feet altitude. Okay? And then, you know, they are talking about as it gained altitude, a huge white mushroom-shaped form at the top. You know, when you see the pictures of explosion of atomic bomb when they were testing, at the top you see this mushroom-style clouds, and that's what he is talking about. And then Lewis, who was part of that crew, he made a comment. This is all from oral history. He was like, my God, what have we done? Just imagine the devastation of an atomic bomb in 1945. What kind of devastation it has done at that time. And today, in today's world, I'm talking about August 12, 2025, when the countries like India and Pakistan, they talk about using atomic bomb. These bombs has a multiple strength than what was used at Hiroshima. And I was reading sometime back in 1999 when we had the Kargil War. At that time, Bill Clinton was the president of the United States. He literally, he called and he had a meeting with the president and the chief of the army at that time from Pakistan. It was Sharif, I think, was the prime minister at that time. And he literally told both the countries that if you plan to use any atomic bomb, you're talking about decimation of the population, and will be left with about 60-70 million people out of about 200 million at that time. And India will be left with only 180 to 200 million people out of, at that time, I think, close to about 700 million. Just imagine, and now 25 years later, 26 years later, there is more precision, more power to those bombs. Just imagine. And when this thing happened, when Pahalgam happened and the Modi's government decided to go to war, even though the facts are still not out, I don't want to go into that argument in today's show, because on Indian side, the Chief of Air Force just gave some numbers, which honestly, since that point till today, I have not seen a single news where those numbers are confirmed. But contrary to the other, yeah, I have seen the wreckage of the planes which were shot down from the Indian Air Force by the Pakistan Air Force. So let's not go in there. Let's stay to where I'm talking about. Air Marshal Munir comes in and he is talking about, not being afraid of using atomic bomb, and he just made that he is going to take not only him, but he will take the rest of the world down with him. Just imagine that, what kind of people we have as our rulers. And on the Indian side, we have telling them, oh, we will not get bullied down. It is not a question of getting bullied. You are not playing cat and mouse game here. You are not playing cat and mouse game here. You just need to look at the facts, look at what kind of devastation it can create, and then talk about how to manage to live together so that everybody can live a peaceful life and a better life. Let's take a break. After the break, I will be right back. Back to mainstream. In those bombing at that time, the density of the population was not that much as it is today. 150 to 246,000 people are assumed to have been killed in that bombing. I'm going to show you the mushroom which I was talking about. If you can see it, this is what it will look like, and I'm pretty sure you can Google it, and from the Google you can definitely see it. Let me try to make it even bigger so that you can see it more closely right here. I can see it on my screen, which is right in front of me, and I'm sure you can see it too. So now, going back to what I was talking about, just imagine that had India and Pakistan not fought these wars. My dad was in army. I remember 65 war. I remember 71 war. During Kargil, I was here. Pahalgam happened. I was not there, but I'm keeping an eye and trying to see what's going on, trying to learn so that I can talk here, I can share with you my thoughts about what is happening. So why I talked about at the beginning of the show about 15th of August, which is approaching in 3 days. When I was at this program at Queensborough Hall, one of the guy got on the stage, a Pakistani. I will still call him a gentleman, because if one is an, excuse my French, an idiot, you do not have to be an idiot. And he was talking about bravo, blah, 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 And what personally I don't understand is that where all these young people, young kids, getting all this from? Then when you sit back and you think about it, it's how the media is putting it in. They are brainwashing you. They are telling you that stuff which they want you to understand from their perspective, not exactly what it is, because you are so much into social media that you even don't look at the proper news anymore, because proper news is not there anymore. That's what I always talk about. And again, one of the reasons why I always talk about and put up my email, my personal email on the show here, is because I want to hear from you. I try to bring to you the way it should be. I may sound sometime biased, but you will see most of the time what I talk about is right. So 1945 happened, okay? In Punjab alone, they still don't have the estimate of number of people who got killed. They are talking about anywhere from 500,000 to 750,000 people who got killed at the partition. I'm talking about just the Punjab. I'm not talking about on eastern side on Bengal. Yeah, riots took place over there also, but they were contained in a short time. There was killing in Bihar also, but most of it took place in Punjab. Okay, 80% of the property was lost in value by Punjabis. 75% who died in that partition were Punjabis. Now, look at this from this angle. They talk about atomic bomb, using atomic bomb. Where it will be used? Punjab. Again, Punjab will be permanently wiped out from the map of the world. And I'm not talking about India or Pakistan. I'm talking about the world map. Why I'm talking about the world map? Because in India now Punjab is a small part. Punjab actually, there was a time when even I was reading somewhere that even Varanasi at a point used to be Banaras, which call, and I think Prayagganj or something like that, that's a new name, was part of Punjab. All the way up to Tibet, part of Nepal, on the west side, Punjab itself, then northwest frontier province, they were all part of Punjab. So that whole area will be gone. Now, look from the flip side of the coin. These warmongers, let's put them on the side, think logically. If there is no war, there will be a trade between East and West Punjab. There is always surplus of potatoes, tomatoes, and other commodities on east side, and shortage on west side, on Pakistan side of Punjab. If the trade is open, the commodities will flow freely. People from East Punjab, they will gain financially. People from West Punjab, they will gain financially. And we, the Sikhs, will have the more freedom to go to each side, visit our places of worship, and vice versa. In Pakistan, the Muslims who in Delhi or some other mosques, or Eidgah in Ajmer, they can do it. There are Hindus who want to go to West Pakistan, some of the temples they want to see, or Hindus who got, migrated from there or uprooted from there, which is a more appropriate term, can go back and look at least their ancestral properties, even though they cannot go and live. But then again, there are some powers who don't want that. And which are those powers? We need to understand that. And on each side, when the minorities are attacked, on Pakistan side, they are using this new blasphemy law to punish anybody who is not a Muslim as per their theory of Muslim. Ahmadiyya Muslims are not considered Muslims, Christians are being abused, and in minority communities of Hindus and Sikhs, they are actually, they don't feel that much free in the Pakistan. On east side of border in India, the Muslims are being bullied, especially where Hindus are in majority, especially if you look at the UP, Bihar, even Delhi. I was shocked that one of the leaders from Bharatiya Janata Party in Delhi walked up to a ready, the guy who was selling his stuff, you know, to put up, you know, one of the flag which he was saying and saying, asking the guy to say, Bharat Maa ki jai. If these people decided to stay in India at the time of partition, there was reason for that. And I can bet my life on this, that this guy who was pushing them to say Bharat Mata ki jai, if somebody asks him, okay, here is a gun, this is what happened in Pahalgam, I want you to go to the border of India, Pakistan and go and kill somebody on that side. Let me see him doing that. He will not. These are the people who are actually the coward, who will push other people using their emotions to blackmailing their emotions to push them to do the extreme in their life. So what is going to happen in near future? It's all, your guess is as good as my guess is. The tariff between India and America, which Donald Trump put up, that bonhomie between Prime Minister Modi and Donald Trump, it is over. This is why the friendship of the heads of the state is not the answer to the issues of the long-term interest of the country. If you remember at the beginning of the show, Donald Trump is minting more money at this time than any other president in the history of the United States. Bharatiya Janata Party is minting more money from the businesses than any other previous party in India. And I'm pretty sure same thing is happening. Putin have more money in his pocket than any other person, whereas the general population is paying the price for their short-sightedness. We have this Friday a meeting between Donald Trump and Putin about Ukraine. Let us see how it happens, and it may affect the tariffs on India. But then again, we don't know yet. And remember, before I go again, freedom of speech and freedom of expression and thoughts, the most important part in a person's life. With that note, till next time, good night and good luck.